Have you ever felt that no matter how much you try, you just cannot save money? At the end of the month, you check your account and the number is close to zero, and you wonder, where did it all go? You didn't buy anything big, nothing expensive, nothing important, just small things. Coffee, snacks, a quick meal, something online, and yet it all disappeared. That feeling is quiet, but heavy, not panic, not fear, just a soft pressure that stays in your mind. This is not a story about being rich, not about earning a lot of money. It is about something much simpler, saving a little, slowly, calmly, without stress. There was a time when every month felt the same. Money came in, money went out, nothing stayed. At first, it didn't feel like a problem. Life is expensive, things cost money. And that's normal, but over time, something started to feel uncomfortable. Not outside, inside. A quiet question appeared. Why is there never anything left? That question didn't go away. It followed, from one day to another, until one small moment made everything clearer. It was an ordinary day, nothing special, a quick stop at a small store, just to buy a few things, something to drink, something to eat. Simple, easy, normal. At the counter, the total number appeared. It was not big, but it was not small. And for the first time, the number felt different, not because of the amount, but because of a thought. If this happens every day, how much is it in 1 month? That question stayed, quiet but strong. Later that night, something changed. A pen, a small notebook. Nothing complicated. Just a simple decision. Write everything down, every dollar, every small purchase. No judgment, no pressure, just observation. The next day, it started. Coffee, $3 lunch, $8 snack, $2. At first, it felt unnecessary, almost strange. Why write such small things? But the writing continued, day after day, slowly, quietly. After a few days, the page filled up. After 1 week, the pattern appeared, clear, simple, unexpected. It was not one big expense. It was many small ones, small habits, small decisions, repeated again and again. Individually, they felt nothing. Together, they became something. That was the first real moment of understanding. Not from advice, not from a book, but from seeing. That is where the first habit began. Write everything you spend, not to control, not to restrict, just to see. Because when something becomes visible, it becomes real. And when it becomes real, it can change. Nothing else changed that week. No strict rules, no big decisions, just awareness. Standing quietly in the background, watching, guiding. A few days later, another small moment arrived. A Sunday, slow, quiet, a little tired. A thought appeared. Order food, easy, comfortable, no effort. The phone was already in hand. The app was open. Pictures looked good, tempting, familiar. And then something paused. A memory, the notebook, the numbers, all those small food orders, again and again. A simple question replaced the impulse. What if, just this time, something different? The kitchen was quiet, nothing special inside, just basic ingredients, simple things, enough. The cooking was slow, not perfect, not exciting, but real, a small meal, warm, honest. After eating, the feeling was unexpected, not just full, but calm, a quiet kind of satisfaction. Not because of the food, but because of the choice. A small change, nothing dramatic, but meaningful. That was where another habit began. Cook sometimes, not always, not perfectly, just sometimes. No pressure, No strict plan, just a different choice in a quiet moment. And something subtle started to shift, not in the numbers yet, but in the feeling, a sense of slowing down, a sense of noticing, a sense of choosing instead of reacting. That feeling stayed, soft, but steady, and without realizing it, the way of living was beginning to change. That quiet feeling did not disappear. It stayed, soft, calm, almost unnoticeable, but present. The notebook continued to fill, line by line, day by day. Nothing dramatic changed. Life was still the same. Work in the morning, meals during the day, a little rest at night, but something inside was different. There was more space between a feeling and an action. Before, things happened quickly. See something, like it, buy it. Now, there was a pause, small, but real. One evening, after a long day, that pause became important. The body felt tired. The mind felt heavy. A quiet need appeared. Something new, something nice, something to feel better. The phone was in hand again, scrolling, images, products, simple things, nothing necessary, but everything looked good, attractive, easy, a few taps, and it could be done. A familiar feeling returned. I want this, but this time, it did not move so fast. The pause came back, gentle, and inside that pause, a question appeared. Why? Not a difficult question, just simple. Why this item? Why now? The answer was quiet, but honest. Not because it was needed, not because it was important, because of a feeling. Tired, a little bored, a little empty. That realization changed something. Not the situation, but the understanding. Sometimes, money is not spent for things. It is spent for feelings. That moment did not lead to a big decision, no strict rule, just one small idea. Wait, not forever, just a little. The item stayed on the screen, but the action stopped. The next day came. The feeling was different, quieter, lighter, and the item was no longer important. It stayed in the store, and the money stayed where it was. That small experience began to repeat again and again. A desire appears, a pause follows, time passes, clarity comes, nothing forced, nothing denied, just delayed. And delay changed everything, because many things that feel important now fade away later, without effort, without struggle, just time. At the same time, another pattern slowly became visible. Morning routines, simple, repeated, almost automatic. Wake up, get ready, step outside, and then a stop, a small coffee shop, warm light, familiar smell, a cup of coffee in hand, comfort, focus, energy. Every day the same. It felt harmless, normal, even necessary. But the notebook told a quiet story, coffee, again, again, again. Small amounts, but steady, consistent, almost invisible, until they were seen together. No need to remove it completely. That felt too much, too sudden. Instead, a softer change appeared. Some mornings, the coffee came from home, simple, less perfect, but enough. Other mornings, the cafe remained, warm, comforting, still there. Nothing was taken away, only adjusted, and that adjustment created space, not just in money, but in feeling. There was no sense of loss, no pressure, just balance. A quiet understanding formed. Life does not need to become strict to become better. It only needs small shifts, gentle changes, a little awareness in ordinary moments. The days continued, nothing special, nothing dramatic, but something was building, slowly, quietly, almost like a new way of living, one that did not feel heavy, one that did not feel forced, just a little more thoughtful, a little more calm. And without noticing exactly when, spending stopped feeling automatic. It started to feel chosen. That sense of choosing began to appear more often, not in big decisions, but in small, quiet moments, standing in a store, looking at a screen, walking past something familiar. The pause was still there, and inside that pause, there was more clarity. Days continue in the same rhythm: work, food, rest, nothing new on the outside. But inside, something was becoming more stable: less noise, less confusion, more understanding. One evening, a different kind of thought appeared, not about spending, but about planning. Nothing complicated, just a simple idea. What if I decide before I spend? Until now, everything had been about noticing after, writing, looking, understanding. But this felt like the next step, quietly. A small plan was created, not detailed, not perfect, just simple limits: food, transport, small personal things. Each one given a number. Not strict, just a direction, a soft boundary. The numbers were not important. What mattered was the intention. The next day, nothing looked different. The same streets, the same shops, the same choices. But something had changed. Each decision now had a reference. A quiet question appeared naturally. Is this within the plan? Sometimes the answer was yes, and there was no hesitation, no guilt, just a simple, calm decision. Sometimes the answer was no, and then there was a pause, not resistance, just awareness. And sometimes, even then, the choice was still to buy, but it felt different because it was conscious, not automatic, and that difference was enough. Over time, this simple planning created something unexpected: confidence, not from having more money, but from understanding where it was going. And when something is understood, it becomes easier to manage, easier to accept, easier to change. Another quiet moment arrived on a slow afternoon, walking through a store with no intention to buy, just looking, just passing time. An object caught the eye: simple, attractive, easy to take home. The feeling came quickly. I want this. It was familiar, very familiar. But something followed it, a different kind of thought, not about price, not about budget, but about time. Where will this be? In a few days? The question stayed for a moment, honest, direct. The answer came quietly. At home, somewhere, maybe unused. Another question followed. Will it matter? After today? Silence. Then a simple answer. No. The feeling changed, not suddenly, but gently. The desire became softer, less urgent, less important, and the object remained where it was. No struggle, no regret, just a quiet decision to leave it behind. Walking away felt light, not because of saving money, but because of understanding that not everything that feels good now is meaningful later. This way of thinking started to appear more often, not always, but enough. Enough to change patterns, enough to create space. Time passed. Days became weeks. Nothing dramatic happened, no big achievement, no sudden success, just consistency, quiet, steady, unnoticed, until one evening, a number appeared, not planned, not expected, just there: savings, a small amount, but real, visible, around $300. For a moment, it was just a number. Then slowly, it became something more. Proof that small changes actually work, not quickly, not loudly, but surely. And more importantly, without stress. There was no feeling of sacrifice, no sense of missing out, just a calm awareness that something was growing, quietly, in the background. without pressure. That feeling was new, and it stayed, not as excitement, but as quiet confidence, a sense that this path could continue, that something simple was becoming something meaningful, and there was still more waiting to be understood, not outside, but inside, in the way small decisions shape everything. That quiet confidence did not come all at once. It grew, slowly, like everything else. There were still normal days, days when things felt easy, days when things felt heavy, moments of awareness and moments of forgetting. Nothing was perfect, and that was important because this was never about perfection. It was about direction, a gentle movement toward something better. One morning, a small situation revealed something new. It was early. The day had just started. The mind was still quiet. A simple plan was in place: food, transport, small spending, clear, simple. But that day, something unexpected happened. An invitation, a friend wanted to meet, a cafe, a place that usually meant spending more than planned. For a moment, there was hesitation. The plan and the reality did not match. In the past, this would feel like a problem, a choice between being strict or giving up. But now, something felt different. The plan was not a rule, it was a guide. So the decision became simple: go, enjoy the moment, adjust later. The meeting was warm, relaxed, meaningful, and the spending was slightly higher than planned. But something important did not appear: no guilt, no stress, just awareness. Later that day, a quiet adjustment happened: less spending in another area. A small change, a simple balance, nothing extreme, just flexible thinking. That moment revealed another habit. Plans can move, they are not fixed. They can adapt, just like life. And when something can adapt, it becomes easier to follow. Because life is not perfect. Unexpected things happen, and a system that cannot move will eventually break. But a system that is flexible can continue. That understanding made everything feel lighter, more natural, more human. Another small change appeared in a very quiet place, at home. A normal evening, nothing special, just sitting, looking around. Objects everywhere, some useful, some forgotten, some not touched. For a long time, a simple question appeared: how many of these things do I actually use? The answer was clear: not many. That realization did not bring regret, just awareness. So something small began: not throwing everything away, not changing everything at once, just looking, one item at a time. Some things were kept, some things were removed, some things were given away. Slowly, space started to appear, not just physical space, but mental space, less clutter, less noise. And with less clutter, something interesting happened. The desire to buy became quieter because there was already enough. That became another quiet habit. Notice what you already have before adding something new, because often the feeling of not enough comes from not seeing what is already there. Days continued, the same rhythm, the same simple patterns, but something was growing. In the background, a deeper understanding, not just about money, but about behavior, about habits, about choices, and how small actions repeat and shape everything. There were still moments of impulse, still moments of forgetting, still moments of unnecessary spending. But now, those moments did not last long, and they were noticed, understood, and gently corrected, without judgment, without pressure, just awareness, returning. Time passed quietly, and one day, another number appeared. Not planned, not forced, just the result of many small days. The savings had grown, more than before, closer to something meaningful. Still not a big number, but enough to feel real, and more importantly, repeatable. That feeling mattered more than the amount because it showed something simple. This was not luck. This was not a one-time result. This was a pattern, a way of living that could continue calmly, steadily, without stress, and quietly. One last piece was still forming, something even simpler, but powerful enough to bring everything together. That last piece was not something new. It was something that had been there all along, hidden inside every small decision, inside every pause, every choice, every quiet moment of awareness. It did not have a name at first, but over time, it became clear. Consistency, not perfection, not strict rules, just consistency. Doing small things, again and again, without pressure, without forcing, just continuing. There were still days when things didn't go as planned, days with extra spending, days with impulse choices, days without writing anything down. But those days did not stop the process, because the next day, everything could begin again, quietly, gently, without guilt. That was the difference. Before, one mistake felt like failure. Now, one mistake felt like a moment, something to notice, and then move forward. Why that shift in thinking changed everything because it removed pressure. And when there is no pressure, it becomes easier to continue. Weeks turned into months. Nothing dramatic happened, no big event, no sudden change. Just small habits. Repeating, writing things down, cooking sometimes, waiting before buying, adjusting instead of removing, planning gently, thinking ahead, noticing what already exists. 7 small habits, simple, quiet, almost invisible. But together, they created something real. One evening, the number appeared again. This time, it was different. Not because of how it looked, but because of what it meant. $1,000. Saved, not quickly, not easily, but calmly. Without stress, without changing life completely, just through small decisions, made again and again. Looking at that number, there was no excitement, no big celebration, just a deep, quiet feeling, stability, a sense that something was finally under control. Not everything, but enough. Enough to feel safe, enough to feel steady, and more importantly, enough to continue. Because this was not the end, it was just a result, a natural result of a different way of living, a way that anyone can try, not by doing everything at once, not by changing everything, but by starting small, one habit, one moment, one decision, and then continuing. If this story feels familiar, it may be because these moments exist in many lives. Quiet decisions, small habits, daily choices, often unnoticed, but always shaping something. So there is no need to rush, no need to be perfect. Just begin and continue, slowly and calmly in your own way. Thank you for being here and listening to this story. If this helped you feel a little more calm, a little more clear, you can stay with this journey. Take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. There will be more slow stories, more real-life situations, and more simple English to help you learn naturally. And if you want to practice your English, you can listen again, one sentence at a time, slowly, gently, because learning, just like saving money, is not fast. It is a quiet process, a steady process, and a meaningful one. I'll see you in the next story.